The NFL draft is now over, and in today's episode, we're talking about 10 players that hit the fantasy football jackpot. But maybe you're sitting there and you're like, Jake, I want to win a jackpot too. Well, you're in luck as well, because if this video can get over 500 likes, I'm going to pick somebody who leaves a comment down below. One random winner for a free draft guide here in 2023. But you have other ways of getting them as well on sale at our website right now, thefantasyheadliners.com, or you can create a new account on Underdog Fantasy. Come play with us for the year. It's going to be a lot of fun. You create that new account, use the referral code headliners, and then make a minimum of a $10 deposit. If you do that, we'll match your deposit all the way up to $100. We're then going to give you a free draft guide, a $21.99 value. Plus, you get entered into another giveaway to win something autographed from my office. Trust me, that is the biggest bang for your buck right now, linked down below in the description. But here we go. Here are the 10 guys who hit the jackpot after the NFL draft. And we're kicking it off with Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers, because you better believe coming back from the draft, I'm feeling pretty damn fancy right now. They selected Quentin Johnson first round out of TCU. This is a good thing for Justin Herbert. In his 3-year career with the Chargers, both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen have missed a combined 23 games. Now, this guy is basically a Mike Williams style clone who's still improving as he's getting older and is now the third option in this passing offense, maybe even the fourth if you want to include Austin Eckler, but at least the third wide receiver. That is great for Justin Herbert. We still got Josh Palmer as a fourth option. Yeah, winning. But he's not the only quarterback that won. What about Geno Smith? Right now, he's currently quarterback 16 on Underdog. Highly undervalued. Still isn't that sexy name, but Geno Smith is gonna put up some points this year. There were rumors coming into the draft that they could take another quarterback. They didn't. Instead, they drafted wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba out of Ohio State. That now gives him DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN, Noah Fant, Kenneth Walker, and oh yeah, just in case you're worried if something were to happen to Kenneth Walker, they also drafted Zach Charbonnet for that backfield. He was last year's quarterback 5 was Geno Smith in fantasy football, and now we've given him more weapons. He's way gonna outperform quarterback 16. And then we also have Jimmy G of the Raiders, right? A lot of people expected the Las Vegas Raiders at some point to draft a quarterback early, maybe even trade up for one. Not really. They waited until the 4th round and took Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue. He's really no threat to Jimmy here in 2023, though, and they gave Jimmy more weapons, a speedy wide receiver in Trey Tucker out of Cincinnati, who could take away some of the slot work from Hunter Renfrow, but they also drafted tight end Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame. He's gotten some Jason Witten comps in the past, and with no Darren Waller there now, you know there's going to be a path to targets for Michael Mayer. Jimmy G has some added value this year as well. But how about the running back position? Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns. We've made it through the NFL draft, and we still have a Nick Chubb major majority. Is that the thing? Major majority? In the whatever it is, you know he's going to get a buttload of touches. There's no one next to him on the depth chart besides Jerome Ford, last year's 5th round pick. Now, obviously, Cleveland didn't have a whole lot to work with early in the draft, but in those middle rounds, they went to work with 2 offensive linemen and wide receiver Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. This is already an above average offensive line that we're now adding more weapons to on the outside to pull defenders outside of the box. Could be a big thing once again for Nick Chubb, being that we no longer have Kareem Hunt in the mix. But what about Joe Mixon as well? Everybody dislikes Joe Mixon when it comes to fantasy football, and I understand your concerns. But despite some early offseason rumors that the Bengals may cut this guy, it looks like they're ready to give him the rock a lot. Samaje Perine, he's gone in free agency. Cincinnati, they didn't draft a running back until the 5th round. They focused on defense early with the selections of defensive end Myles Murphy, defensive back DJ Turner, and safety Jordan Battle out of Alabama. An improved defense with fewer options to split with sounds like a winning formula for a running back in Joe Mixon. which is kind of what we can say about Rashad White as well. He's currently running back 25 over on Underdog and is definitely somebody whose value is increasing quickly. If you're doing these best ball drafts on Underdog, a few of these names are the names you want to jump on now before they get more expensive as the offseason goes. We have no more Leonard Fournette. Gio Bernard just retired during the draft, and nobody was drafted to Tampa Bay at the running back position. The only guy remotely close to him on the depth chart is Chase Edmonds, and this dude hasn't been able to stay healthy or on a roster for multiple years now. An offense full of stud wide receivers, Baker Mayfield probably at quarterback, and a past commitment to Rashad White in this offense, he is definitely somebody who's flying under the radar for sure. And if we're going to talk flying under the radar, what about James Conner, Arizona Cardinals? Now listen, I'm a damn split second away from denouncing my Cardinals fandom and becoming a free agent fan. If there are any fan bases out there that are willing to draft me, let me know down below in the comment section, because I just don't know if I can take it anymore. It's great choices followed by WTF moments with this organization every year of my life, and I'm getting too old for this stress. But they still have DeAndre Hopkins. They drafted arguably the best offensive lineman in the draft. They didn't draft a running back and spent 5 picks on the defensive side of the football. All of those things are good for James Conner. We don't even know if Kyler Murray is going to be 100% healthy to start the season. We could see a lot of James Conner early, and is definitely a name that I'm paying attention to. Which will then take me to, how about DeAndre Swift of now the Philadelphia Bulldogs? Because it seems like every damn player on this team came from Georgia almost at this point. But now we have DeAndre Swift traded from Detroit on draft day to Philadelphia. They didn't want anything to do with DeAndre Swift in Detroit. We've seen that over the past few years. He wasn't a Dan Campbell draft pick, right? They did not want him. Then they took Jahmyr Gibbs early, and the writing was on the wall. They then sent DeAndre Swift to Philadelphia, arguably one of the best running teams in all of the land, and now things are getting a little bit crazy in Philadelphia. Talent-wise, DeAndre Swift is the best running back on this roster currently. He needs to stay on the field. He needs to toughen up a little bit, and Philly could be that place. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't dislike Kenneth Gainwell. He's going to have a role, and they brought in Rashad Penny as well, but if we know anything about Rashad Penny, it's that he doesn't play all season, and DeAndre Swift is going to get a chance at some scoring opportunities. It would not surprise me that by midseason, we could see that heavy dose of DeAndre Swift in a high-powered offense. And right now, he's currently running back 20 over on Underdog. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes top 15. The great thing about playing in best ball there on Underdog is that he's going to have those bad weeks. We expect that. We know that's coming, but in the best ball format, he's not going to hurt you as much, especially with what that potential ceiling could be week in and week out. What about a wide receiver here? What about Treylon Burks of the Tennessee Titans? He's currently wide receiver 37 on Underdog. Definitely want to scoop this guy up if you're doing any drafts right this second. People are drafting right now on Underdog. The Titans had arguably the worst wide receiver core in all the league. They had to address it during the NFL draft, right? No, they waited until the 7th round to draft future practice squatter Colton Dowell out of Tennessee Martin. Dude doesn't even have a picture on NFL's draft website. Nobody knows who this kid is. They still have Derrick Henry on the roster. They spent their 1st round pick on a great offensive lineman in Peter Skoronski, and they also drafted Will Levis in the 2nd round to maybe take over at some point here in the near future. That strong-armed quarterback in Will Levis definitely bodes well for the deep threat ability of one Treylon Burks. Add on top of that, really no one to take away any targets. This is definitely one of those guys. At wide receiver 37 right now, give me a break. Add him to your roster. They're on Underdog in some best ball contests. The dude could have some seriously huge weeks, along with this guy, my only tight end that I'm bringing up in this show, Juwan Johnson, tight end of the New Orleans Saints, currently sitting at tight end 18 on Underdog. Are you Give me a break here. He was a top 12 tight end just last season, who gets an upgrade at quarterback going to Derek Carr, who has proven that he likes to throw the ball to his tight ends. And then to make things even better, they trade away Adam Troutman to the Denver Broncos during the draft. No other tight ends drafted by this team. Some uncertainty surrounding Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas. This guy could be the sleeper tight end of 2023. But let me know down below, who do you feel were some of the biggest winners after the NFL draft? Leave those comments down below. Hit that like button, right? We'll give away a draft guide at 500 likes. And then don't forget, sign up for that new account on Underdog Fantasy using the referral code Headliners. Make that initial deposit. You'll get your draft guide for free as soon as it releases. But in the meantime, do your part to make this world a better place. And we'll talk to you later.